let's do the UK first, and then let's do the USA.
What is the future of the United Kingdom? The country has been so chaotic recently with political woes and the economy in the rubbish, as they would say. Will the UK keep the U in the K, and why are they going through this? First things first, the UK is an island, bruv. Well, I guess Great Britain is an island consisting of the three main pals,
I love the
England,
British,
Scotland, and Wales, and then Northern Ireland sits out here staring.
Oh, yeah, I think we've watched this one already. I know, I remember, because it's a little hedgehog, like England is a hedgehog. I think we've done this. Let me check on my channel. I don't even know what videos I have recorded. But let's watch it again. You know, I really don't mind.
Off into the Atlantic.
The UK is very chaotic
There's
lately.
Been some pull from these three outer countries, but let's be honest.
Yeah, look at Ireland and all the
keeps them
issues.
in line easily. It's just
It's
the
so
largest,
cute, dude.
most
I love
populated,
hedgehogs.
and richest of the bunch. Let's get back to that island part, though.
Yeah, maybe we can
this
watch that
waterway,
too.
This separated the UK from being a
The
poor
channel?
backwater, kind of like Lithuania, to being the power. Like, the power. I mean, the power on Earth
The
for a
freaking
while.
power, yeah.
Water means fast movement, water means trade, and water means blockading other nations. Britain controls the water. This wasn't really always so. The wind kind of made them lucky in this war, but after that they promised they would always have the strongest navy in Europe. This is what made the UK. It wasn't the Scots threatening to get drunk and invade England, not the English starving the Irish, not the Welsh just chilling here. It was the English Channel who separated them from Europe. Cause let's be honest, the actual land here is not that magical. Sure, the UK is temperate, it's a good start, but the food growing capability isn't great.
France
there are
is
many
the best.
rivers,
All right, I
particularly
like
the
that.
Thames, Severn, and Firth of Forth to develop inland. There's the Tees X line, which separates the lowlands from highlands, also separating farming.
Okay,
from
we're learning some
separatism,
UK
and normal
geography.
sounding
I had
English
no
from-
clue.
I mean, this is the thing. It's all right when you're
I remember this because I used this exact same clip in like one of my videos. So yeah, I know, pretty funny.
And then there's the hard work they put in to make their waterway map look like this,
Nobody can
which
understand
helped a ton,
Scotland,
but
you
if
know?
they never realized how important naval power was, they wouldn't have dug the canals in the
Jesse,
first place.
we need to dig.
It's the reason why Britain was the first place to have
I
these
love Breaking
towers
Bad.
puffing that exotic pack. They were the first to industrialize because of the water. First of all, they had a ton of traders, manufacturers, and businessmen who decided they wanted some sort of power in the country, you know, to keep the tea and slaves moving. So
Oh,
to
yeah.
end up with things like the Magna Carta, Glorious Revolution, and the world's first constitutional monarchy in power, with parliament originally made for the rich people to give their opinions on running the country. Still not really great for the average bloke, but it was better than an absolute monarch taking all of your bread and maidens. Parliament was just better for business, which led to industrialization. The UK is just the right spot to spawn this new technology. There is so much water to move stuff around, the rich parliament let the industrialists keep their money and protected their business rights. In fact, they usually were the industrialists, and those French bastards couldn't just attack the place whenever they wanted to. It was perfect, and it made the island by far the richest place on Earth. At least at the time. But while they were going through their change, they were doing it pretty much
That's true.
alone. They had to figure out how to industrialize by themselves. You know, how do you get the steam to move
Sigma,
the wheel?
Lone
How do you
Wolf,
get the
the
wheel to
Sigma
shred the
grinds
cotton?
it.
How do you get this hat even taller? It took the nation about 7 generations to industrialize. For you Gen Z kids, 7 generations ago was the generation before the lost generation.
That's
the
a
ones
lot of
born around
kids.
1860. So because it took such a long time, the birth rates never catastrophically fell, or at least not nearly as fast as other countries is.
That's I mean, France, Normandy invaded the Anglo-Saxon and they won. So yeah, I mean, we could talk about stuff like this a lot, but a lot of the birth rates lately have been pretty crazy, especially like surrounding China. Have you guys been seeing what's been going on in China recently? Just crazy, like COVID protests and things are not going well. I mean, it's really like breaking down, and the UK is also not doing very well.
They had time to adjust from the farm to
Now
the
the
factory.
birth rates,
And well, the extra
Yeah, and the
people
German,
just
birth
shipped them
rate
off across
stats,
the
yeah.
empire. So birth rates kept high. So fast forward to today, and because of that surplus population making the map turn to this, now the colonies can come back to Britain, being able to speak English now. The British demographic structure is stable and actually growing, particularly from immigrants who can mend into British society much better than some other European states have. I guess that's what happens when you mend British society into them first, huh? Compare this to other European countries, Germany, Italy, Russia, Spain, who maybe industrialized a little too fast and collapsed their birth rate by urbanizing too fast, which meant that their demographic structures are like this, aka
Talking about Germany, there we go. A lot of people age 50 to 60. Now we have like a bit. I love how you can see that surplus of women in like the World War II generation, and then you have like a surplus of dudes, of male.
about to die soon. So this is all
Well,
to say that the land
not
and
soon,
people
not
of the
so
UK
soon,
mean
but-
that the country, despite all the drama, all the booing in Parliament, and all the awful food, it's a stable nation. They're not going to collapse, and they're not going to be involved in a potential European collapse. That's not to say they don't have problems. I mean, look at their economy. It's unstable as shite. They need to make a safe, modern place to keep their money stable. Wait, that reminds me. I'm supposed to tell you about Ridge Wallet. Because the UK is an island, they love to go on and on about how different and special they are from the rest of Europe. You know, they love to sail the seas. They use the pound, not the euro. They're cool with the Americans, and they hate the Polish. Well, I guess that's typical across the continent. But really, they're nothing but a European.
Yeah, why do the British hate the Polish? I mean, what's wrong with the Polish? I don't know. I think Germany has the second lowest birth rate in the world. Only Japan is lower. Bro, all right. I think you might be right. 1.5. Ooh, that's so low. Immigrants, something like that? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, look at that. 1.5. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's 1.5 births per woman in 2020. Japan has 1.3. Holy shit. Holy shit. Japan has 1.3. That's low. But we do have a decent amount of immigration. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a lot better. Japan, I don't think Japan has a lot of immigration. Germany has. France is looking good, quote unquote, at 1.8. But 1.3, look at Korea. Yeah, let's look at Korea. Yo! No way! No shot! 0.8. I don't think I've ever seen a 0.84 birth rate. Holy shit. South Korea, yeah, it's pretty bad. Hello, Fritos. Germany has like twice to 4 times the immigration rate of Japan, so they're doing much better. Kim is laughing in the back. Yeah, the Polish are leaving for other countries. Look up Taiwan's. Oh my God, is it gonna be lower? I don't think so. It's close to 1.2 according to macro trends. 1.1. It actually went up a little bit. Yeah, it's been going up in recent years, so I guess that's good. I remember when somebody said the Poles are like the Mexicans of Europe when we watched this last time. I remember this too, yeah. The Polish are like the Mexicans of Europe. I get it. They're immigrants.
And any trouble Europe is having with their economy, the Brits will follow. This could be from supply shocks, their rapidly aging population, European banks giving out bad loans to shite borrowers, or whole nations not paying their debt back. Whatever it is, the UK will be affected by it. I mean, half of their imports, exports, and investments come from the mainland. It'll hit them eventually.
Yeah,
and
the West really needs migrants.
Look at the British economy recently. The Queen would be shaking her head. Oh, not her. This Queen, considering how far the British economy has fallen from the
Queen
best
Victoria?
in the world to top 6, it's appalling to a Victorian.
Hello, Golden
especially
Toaster.
in recent years.
You can't
Real
chat
wage
now.
in the UK
Are you
is lower
working
now
or
than
like
it was
in
15
school?
years ago. Plus, Europe takes longer to bounce back from financial crises. Some places still not
Well,
really
we're
recovered
gonna
from
watch it.
2008. And because the UK was the
Giga
first to
Chad.
industrialize, they were the first to move past that, and instead of focusing on dirty manufacturing, they started to focus on high-end, luxury suit wearing, cocaine-driven finance, especially in London, moving their rural factories to cheap China, or more fashionable nowadays, even cheaper India. But remove London and you're left with one of the poorest nations in Western Europe, one a shell of its former self. This hollowness directly contributed to something which has dominated British foreign politics, domestic politics, even household politics. It has been the only thing the UK has been focused on for the last 7 years: Brexit. The country lost.
Yeah, basically, yeah, I don't know about this. Yeah, I don't know either. Like, one of the poorest countries in Europe? I don't think so. Of course, he's referring to outside London, so all the rural England areas. I don't think it's one of the poorest. I mean, even like Birmingham, I don't think it's like that bad. I mean, like worse than places like Poland, for example, right? I don't think so.
Its investments, it lost its trade deals, and it lost much of its immigrant flow over the past half decade from the biggest chaos it's been in recently. There was no proper plan made for Brexit. It was kind of just an impulse decision the country made without really thinking it through. You can make a new video just listing all the economic damages Brexit caused, but we can say some here. Imports fell, and as an island who needs imported goods, that's a pisser. Banks transferred over $1 trillion of assets outside of the UK, going to the EU, or more realistically, over to the US. The Brexit deals have been the center of British politics for the last few years, and honestly, it's going to be pretty hard to make a cohesive trade deal with the bureaucracy-loving European Union, who took decades to make one with even Canada, which is a real bell end for the UK, who, dependent on imports, has been hit pretty hard by supply shocks, causing some of the highest inflation in the Western world and the highest in the country in decades. And then there's the political chaos. Oh boy, if you aren't aware of who this is, here's basically what she did. She became the prime minister after Boris resigned. The queen hated her so much that she instantly died. Her mini budget crashed the economy by scaring every investor in Britain, almost sending the pound down to dollar or euro level, and then she left. Basically throwing themselves into Brexit with no deal has left the British a crisis they need to deal with still for years to come. So how will modern Britain survive going into the world solo without its EU daddy and without their best buddies, France and Germany? Long story short, they won't. First of all, when it comes to security, Britain is one of the most globalized countries on earth, having a pretty high rate of importing and exporting. It's almost like they used to have a third of the world to pull resources from.
I know, right? Yeah,
Second,
they used to.
They could kick it with the Scandinavians. They're not really into the EU too much either, at least Norway isn't, but they have proper navies, great demographics, and most importantly are linked to the UK energy-wise already. From these fans
yeah,
in
that's
the middle
actually
of the
really
ocean,
true. I mean, I don't know how close. Probably the UK has very close relation to those countries in Scandinavia, but I think they could get even closer. I'm wondering how's the demographics of Scandinavia. Let's see. Okay, well, they are not so great. Sweden is at 1.6 and Norway is at 1.4, which I think it's worse than the UK. So I don't know if that's good, man. I don't know. Let's see, Denmark. But I don't think it's going to be like 1.6 also. Greenland is at 2.0. I mean, Greenland is killing it, man. People in Greenland are having a bunch of babies.
and undersea pipelines pumping Norwegian oil, Britain and Scandinavia already share their electricity. They can make a mini bubble of influence in the North Sea, which just so happens to be Europe's most important trade route. Thirdly, the English aren't alone. They are bringing the Scots, Welsh, and Northern Irish with them whether they like it or not, and the Welsh happen to like it. How will their relationship be after years of a bumpy road ahead? Who knows? But if Scotland were to split off because of Scotland forever, they would definitely be making a mistake. First of all, they have no people and the land looks like this.
Angola? All right, let's do it. Oh my god. 5.3? Holy shit. Wow. Yo, 5.3, that's a lot. 5 children per woman. Namibia 3.5, Mozambique 4.7. Jesus fuck. The Brits don't hate the Polish. That's the biggest life I've ever had. We just don't have enough houses for them all. Oh, all right. So yeah, it's like an immigration thing. Wow. Wow.
Take the UK's dependence on the EU and foreign imports and multiply it by at least 3. I don't know.
Molly. All right. It can be more, dude. Oh! 6 births per woman. Holy shit. People in Mali. What are you doing? Nigeria moment. Okay, let's go for Nigeria. 5.3. Niger 6.8. Oh, no way. 6.9, almost 7 people. Amish people will be like 6 kids. That's cute. I mean, yeah. That's why in the US, places like Utah have like a higher birth rate. Scandinavia's population will increase about 20-30% by 2100. I guess that's mostly because of immigration, right? Back in the day, women used to have like 15 kids, but 2/3 of them died before age 10. Yeah, good to see you, Gustav. And yeah, it's fucking insane. Chat. That's not a chat move at all. Look at that. 6.3. Wow. If Nigeria can remain stable, it'll have 500 to 750 million people by the end of the century. That's crazy to think, isn't it?
They would be at the
Crazy.
mercy of Europe and England too, and I'm assuming if they split off, that relationship would not be the best. Second, Scotland is already older than England and growing at a much slower pace, so demographic collapse would be first in Scotland, especially if they reduce their main source of immigrants, the English. Third, navally, it can't get anywhere without strict
A natality collapse all over the world. Well, clearly not in Africa, though.
permission from the second most powerful navy on Earth right below them. And fourth, it would be so financially connected to England that honestly, what would be the point of independence? Just to eat stuff like this without a chav in their ear going on and on about Man United not scoring enough goals? Just stick with the UK, Scotland. It's best for both you and England.
Also, literally Chad. Yeah,
honestly,
Africa's
if there's
Chad.
a financial crisis in the UK and Ireland keeps up its growth, which surpassed then doubled the UK in GDP per capita.
Yeah, doubled. Ireland has doubled
In the UK,
the
and
UK
Ireland keeps up its growth,
per capita.
which surpassed.
Look at that. Wow. Ireland's growth has been insane. They doubled the UK GDP per capita. I mean, Ireland, talk about a real Chad. Rare Irish W. Yeah, I mean, W for sure. Although rare, yeah, it is kind of rare, yeah.
Then doubled the UK
Revenge
GDP
of the
per
potato.
capita, it might not be such a bad idea to leave and go join the winning side instead. Unlike Scotland,
Yeah,
look at a
not
free
at all.
and quick pass into the EU through Ireland, and relations between Ireland and the UK, despite the hungry past, are pretty good.
Hungry
so I
past.
don't think there will
Hungry
be too
potato
much bad
past.
blood. But hey, Ireland is still dependent on the UK for energy, food,
5.6 million by
manufacturing/labor,
2050.
and
Huh.
protection. So Northern Ireland wouldn't be changing too much by switching sides. And then there's the whole of the United Kingdom. What should they do in an EU-less world? Well, they already know the answer. Boris said it when he left office.
Number one, stay close to the Americans. Number one, stay close to the Americans.
Yeah.
The British have a rough history with the Americans, but let's be honest, who don't they have a rough history with?
Ireland's GDP is insanely inflated because international concerns have their EU headquarters there. Oh, for tax reasons. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
But despite that, they're probably Britain's biggest ally. Why not make them their biggest trade partner if Europe gives them the cold shoulder? The US can fulfill the UK's agriculture and manufacturing needs, or
Yes.
the integrated NAFTA can, likely with some heavy lifting from Mexico.
Arriba!
They already have
Yes,
high
sir.
economic, political, and cultural ties. They even have the same show about the same culture. But the US has more naval power than the rest of the world combined.
Yeah.
So Britain can't really contribute much to that front, but they can still follow them around like a little kid. They do have that capability to at least reach
It's a
everywhere.
little humiliating for the UK, being America's sort of child, but
on Earth.
Hey,
So to stick with the Americans,
if it
they'll follow
works,
them
it
around.
works.
Need to potentially defend Taiwan, the UK will be there. Need to bomb more Middle Eastern schools? Yes, the UK will
is
be there
right
too.
there.
There's also the idea of Kanzuk, an alliance and free movement between the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. But this would only realistically happen if the US allows it to. Canada is way too integrated into the U.S. economy for them not to have
I don't know
a seat
what's
in the
that. You know what
negotiating
what's
room.
that
So the
supposed to
message
mean?
after
But
Brexit is clear. Instead of rocking with the Europeans, rock with the Americans instead. There will still be some hiccups called huge.
people say that the American army is like a paper army. I don't. Why did he choose the Bison for the U.S. though? The bald eagle would have been better. A lot more patriotic, for sure. Kansuk, the only thing that can save us in the UK, I think, staying close to the Americans would probably do well, maybe not wonders, but what I'm saying, right? That would do good.
And political.
Yeah, how they use the army, a paper army. Yeah, I don't see it. They spend so much money on it. Yeah, literally. I mean, most than like the other 10 countries combined.
Chaos, but long term they should be fine with good
Good
demographics
old
and
blokes.
security. Time to figure out what Brexit really means.
Oh man, talk about Brexit, dude. Oh, one of the worst policy ideas probably in history. I mean, what do you guys think? Brexit was so bad. I mean, it's being so bad. I don't see how is it a benefit to the UK at all. If there's only one criticism I have of the U.S. Army, they haven't had a larger war since World War II, which should be a good thing. I think that's a good thing, not having another war. Vietnam, but Vietnam wasn't that big, though. Korea was kind of, the U.S. has the highest budget and third largest by personnel. It's insane. It's crazy. I mean, larger war with a near peer enemy. I think that's a good thing,
What is the future of the United Kingdom?
Subscribe for a free pass to the European Union. Subscribe for a free pass into the EU. That's funny, though. They just did a bad decision after Brexit. Brexit is, as such, is great. What are you saying, Fritos? Do you want the French exit? A Frexit? In the 90s, Iraq's army was the 6th largest in the world. Oh, shit.